Who's in and who's out as the New England Patriots begin mandatory minicamp? Stick around. You're about to be locked into the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Welcome to the Locked On Patriots podcast, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I am your host, Mike Debate, and I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on Twitter at MDABATENFL. And while you're out there showing some love to the Twitterverse, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. That's fans. Thank you for joining me here today. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. And as always, a special shout out to all of you everydayers out there. Those of you who make Locked On Patriots possible each and every day, my unending appreciation. I am honored and humbled by your support. And Pats fans, today on the pod, our good friend, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, Thomas Murphy of E2GSports.com, going to drop by to help me open up the Locked On Patriots mailbag. It is hashtag Mailbag Monday, and we've got some great ones for you today, so stick around, keep it here. You won't want to miss this one. But before Murph hops in here in just a moment, Patriots return to the practice fields adjacent to Gillette Stadium on Monday. That's right, folks. It's that time of year already. Mandatory minicamp beginning in New England, and there were no shortage of stories on this cloudy, muggy day in June. So here are some of my highlights from day one, and we start with the roll call. Some high-profile members of the Patriots not in attendance. JuJu Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, they continue to have their workload monitored because of their respective injury histories. Murph and I are going to talk a little bit more about JuJu and Tyquan a little bit later in today's episode, so keep that under your hat for a moment. But Kayshon Boutte also not on the field. Offensive lineman Trent Brown and Michael Wainu were not present. Running back James Robinson, more on him in just a second, folks. And, of course, defensive tackle Lawrence Guy not on the field. A little more on him in a moment as well. Now, Trent Brown, a lot of people have been talking about the fact that he could be a cut candidate. I don't buy into that. According to Mark Daniels of Mass Live, Brown just simply couldn't get a flight into New England from Texas. Massive hailstorms in the region. So unfortunately, Trent's arrival in New England is going to be delayed due to weather, not because of contract disputes. And apparently his absence is nothing to be concerned of for that reason. So Trent Brown will be here eventually, but James Robinson is going to be searching for a new football home, at least for the time being. Patriots releasing the veteran running back on Monday afternoon. Now, James had signed a 2-year, $4 million contract with the Patriots featuring $150,000 in guaranteed money in March. That was after he wasn't tendered a contract offer by the New York Jets as a restricted free agent. Again, this is a little bit of a surprise, but James definitely had difficulty standing out during the Patriots offseason workout program. To me, this really speaks more to the performance displayed by Ty Montgomery, who continues to be one of the standouts for the Patriots on offense thus far. Pierre Strong, Kevin Harris apparently showing enough to Bill Belichick right now that they have what it takes to be able to back up Ramondre Stevenson in the lead role. So whether that roster spot that's now available because of James's release or the extra cap room is going to be allocated for another player, someone like a DeAndre Hopkins perhaps, well, jury's still out on that one. Stay tuned for that, though, folks. That could get interesting. So James Robinson, we hardly knew you. Tip of the cap. Wish you very well. Who knows? Maybe there's an opportunity where he finds his way back to Foxborough. But the most conspicuous absence of the day belonged to Lawrence Guy. And shortly after Guy was noticed as not being on the field, ESPN's Mike Reese was the first to report that he is indeed holding out for a new contract. And Lawrence currently has 2 years remaining on his current deal. He's set to make $2 million with a $3.6 million cap hit in 2023. And you can understand why he may want a little bit more of a robust raise. He's been a valuable member of this team since signing with the Patriots. He's appeared in a combined 101 regular season playoff games for New England. Despite missing 3 games with a shoulder injury last season, still had 46 total tackles, 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Not amazing statistics, but impressive enough when you consider that he's sharing that line with guys like Devon Godchow, Christian Barmore, Dietrich Wise, Carl Davis. That is going to give you a little bit of competition. And of course, Lawrence did have his health issues last year. Bottom line, he's also been a very important presence off the field as well. And this is where Lawrence Guy, I think, really shines. He was voted to the Patriots All-2010s Decade Team, also named a team captain in 2020. He won the Ron Burton Community Service Award in 2021 and was also the Patriots nominee for the NFL's Walter Payton Man of the Year Award last season. So a great guy, a pillar of the community. Lawrence truly is one of the great guys that you'll meet, but everybody has their price, and apparently Lawrence is looking for a new contract here in New England. Now, because Guy is missing this time, don't forget, mandatory minicamp is mandatory, meaning that he has to be there or he's going to be subject to fines for missing the time on the field. The Patriots do have the right to refrain from enforcing that penalty, so keep a sharp eye on this one, folks. I would definitely not have guessed Lawrence Guy as a holdout, but he still brings a lot of value to this team. The question is, how much value does he bring back? And I think you're going to find that out in the next coming days with the New England Patriots. So bottom line, folks, a lot of interesting things off the field for the Pats even before they took the field. But once they did, there was a lot to like about these New England Patriots. Mac Jones, once again, the top option at the quarterback position, completed 10 of 12 during 11-on-11 drills and a perfect 21 of 21 during 7-on-7s. Bailey Zappi, solid in the backup role, took reps with the second team offense, although he did get 1 series in 11-on-11s with the number ones, 10 of 13 during the 11 drills, and 9 of 12 during the 7s. Now, Jones had a solid day statistically. He looked very good throwing the ball. Did have a couple of interceptions, one by Adrian Phillips, the other by Kyle Duggar. In my opinion, those 2 interceptions came on plays that looked like they weren't meant to be completed, but don't want to take away from Adrian or from Kyle during good beats on the quarterback. That's what they should be doing, and you want to see that, especially at this time of year. Overall, I thought he looked pretty sharp, pretty comfortable in his throws, and Mac looks to be settling into his own. Now, Mac's best throw of the day was on a deep crosser to tight end Hunter Henry. Hi, Claire. That was an impressive 25-yard completion, and no question about it, these two look like they are ready to work together and really kind of rekindle some of that prowess that we saw from them in 2021. Jalen Mills was all over Hunter in coverage, really played tight coverage, but again, Mac showing his ability to drop the ball into an area where only Henry can make the grab. When Mac is coached properly, this is what you see from him on the field. And I have a hunch that you're going to continue to see it as these practices continues to wear on. I think you'll see this bleed over into training camp. And if that's the case, then Mac Jones has probably drawn a bead on that starting position. Despite seeing limited action on day one, though, I didn't want to let the day go by without giving a much-deserved tip of the cap to Trace McSorley. He collaborated on the longest play of the day, a 50-yard completion to Trey Nixon. Really a thing of beauty to behold, and Trace proving that he's got an arm to be able to do it. So good stuff when it comes to the Patriots. As far as the offensive line goes, we know this is Murph's favorite subject. Trent Brown, Michael Wainu absent from practice, so that gave the opportunity for guys like Calvin Anderson, Bill Murray, Connor McDermott. They stepped up and took on more active roles in the first team offensive line. Had Calvin penciled in at left tackle, obviously Cole Strange going at the left guard position, David Andrews at center, Bill Murray doing the right guard, and of course Connor McDermott at right tackle. So the Patriots weren't only making highlights on the offensive side of the ball, though, folks. The defense taking center stage, and this defensive backfield has a chance to be special. They mostly used dime looks during Monday's session, and they really did it to, I think, significant success. Christian Gonzalez, Jack Jones, they were your options on the perimeter up front. They're aligned on the outside. Jonathan Jones moving back into the slot, really where I think he's most comfortable. He was occasionally spelled a little bit by Marcus Jones in the slot, so really got a good rotation with Christian and the three Joneses. Almost sounds like an old 50s group there, but at the safety position, Patriots looking stout there as well. Rotation of Adrian Phillips, Jabril Peppers, and Kyle Duggar, with Jalen Mills playing a notable role as well. I mentioned before that both Kyle and Adrian had interception. They look good. Patriots secondary, again, looking much improved from the unit we saw in 2022. And of course, the defenders were active in attacking the pass. According to the tallies, Jack Jones, Christian Gonzalez, Marte Mapu, Josh Uche, Deech Wise, Isaiah Bolden, all logging pass breakups, and Christian Barmore making his presence felt. He had what would have been a sack on Mac Jones during team drills as well. So when you look at the Patriots' first day on the field, yeah, fun first day of action for the Pats, and there are 2 to go. So stay tuned, stay locked in to Locked On Patriots all week long, folks, for continuing coverage of mandatory minicamp. And we're not quite done today either, folks, because Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports is going to join me here in just a moment to open up the Locked On Patriots mailbag. That's right, it is Mailbag Monday, and we're taking your questions in just a moment when this episode continues. But first, folks, today's episode is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Make a fast break to FanDuel during the NBA playoffs, because right now, new customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. There is no better place to bet all of the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Patriots fans, thank you once again for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend here on Locked On Patriots. It is Minicamp Monday. It is Mailbag Monday, but most importantly, it is hashtag Locked On Murph Monday. All three rolled into one. What more can you ask for to kick off the week in style? And I always am honored and humbled to welcome my good friend, the Count of Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2GSports.com. Thank you for coming to me in friendship today, Don Murph.
Always my pleasure, Michael. Always my pleasure. And a shout out to Billy Batts, who was killed 23 years ago yesterday.
I just got out. You're doing this to me now.
You're
doing this to me now.
You're doing this to me now.
I don't know who you're talking to, but I ain't shining shoes no more. Folks, we can
Sorry,
go on with mob movies all day long. Yeah, and it's Mailbag Monday. If you have a mob movie question, you definitely want to get that in there. Maybe Murph and I might address it here on Locked On Patriots. But bottom line, it is Mailbag Monday. And even though the Patriots are opening minicamp as we speak on the field of Gillette Stadium, the New England Patriots still have many questions surrounding this team. And that is what Murph and I are here to help you answer today. We're trying to give you our wisdom and counsel to help shed some light on some of the burning questions that you still have within Patriots Nation. And Murph, we've got a couple of great ones here today. Let's dive right into it and start off with a question from a first-time submitter here on Locked On Patriots, Manolo C. 1862. And he's found on Twitter at MC1862. And his question is, will JuJu Smith-Schuster be the slot receiver with Devontae Parker and Tyquan Thornton at wideout? Murph, this is a very interesting question considering the news of the day. Obviously, on Monday, reports out there that JuJu Smith-Schuster not participating in on-field drills that the Patriots will participate in the first day in mandatory minicamp. And, of course, we all know about the knee injury that he suffered in the AFC Championship game last year. Still bounced back from it pretty nicely when it came to the Super Bowl. He was a key reason why the team walked away with the 38-35 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. 7 passes caught, 53 yards. Murph, I know the Patriots want to err on the side of caution, but my question and my concern here is that the time that JuJu continues to miss on the field is time that he's missing gaining that synergy with Mac Jones, gaining that synergy with Bill O'Brien. if Manolo is correct here and JuJu Smith-Schuster is going to be the slot receiver, maybe even your main option,
Hmm.
how big of a deal is it that he's missing this time now heading into
It's
training
huge.
camp?
It's humongous. It's like the Lord humongous. Okay, you've been sitting there resting up for 4 months now, 5 months now, doing some rehabs. How cautious can you be? How many extra days do you need? I'm not. This is not thrilling me that he is not out here right now.
Mm,
OTAs, that's fine. I understand. You're not getting paid to come to work, so don't come to work, man. It's optional. Um, and but no, this does. It gives me pause.
mm. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, New England is looking at this right now and saying, okay, 3-year, $25.5 million contract in the offseason,
Yep.
not breaking the bank for Juju, but you're paying him good money to come in here and to be that slot weapon that you know Bill O'Brien loves to employ, the guy that can get the ball and get yards after the catch. He's a
Hmm.
yak machine, Murph. You know, you love
Yep.
it, you
I
crave
loved
it,
it.
you need it. He earned 141 yards above expectation last season. By comparison, the Patriots just 33 yards after the catch as
As a
a
team.
total team. And Juju eclipsed that and then some just himself. Ranked ninth in the league, an average of 5.8 yards after the catch per reception. So that's what they're bringing this kid in here to do. But one of the big things about gaining yards after the catch and being a very good receiver at doing that is timing. And the New England offense has always been timing based, whether you take the sample under Josh McDaniels. I'd even say you go back as far back as Charlie Weiss to say
Oh, sure.
that this offense
Yep.
is definitely, timing based under the Bill Belichick regime. And in that regard, even Bill O'Brien, his first stint here, it is very timing based. You
It
have to
is.
have a very good synergy with your quarterback. It concerns me that he's not out there as well. I think this could be something to monitor. So, Manoa, great question on
Yeah.
JuJu Smith-Schuster. We'll continue to take a look at it. Maybe it ends up being nothing. I'm high on this kid's talent. I can't wait to see what he can do. And I think he can be excellent here in this system. We just
Right.
need to get him out there on the field. And if he is nursing a little bit of an injury right now, maybe the Patriots know something we don't. But you have
Right.
to think that he's got to see the field sooner rather than later. If this dips into training camp, that's when I think you really have a
Right.
problem. This is worth a sharp eye, folks, right now. But I don't think it's worth a major concern
No.
unless it does go into training.
No. I'm just ticked off. I've been waiting to see this man
Understandable.
for forever. I've
Mhm.
wanted him here for quite some time. I wanted him here before he went to Kansas City,
Mhm.
and you just have to wonder what's going on with that knee, that he's gonna keep missing time here. I was honestly upset that they didn't get together over the winter during the off season and
Mm,
start working together.
yeah,
That's you see that a lot around the NFL,
good
and we
point.
didn't. But the other part of this question, yeah. Devonta Parker, as long as he can stay on the field, and my man, the Slim Reaper, Tyquan Thornton, will be the outside guys this year. And of course, they've got a nice mix here. We're gonna, Kendrick Bourne is of course at the top of the depth chart right now. Smith Schuster slides in behind him. That's probably because of what's going on with that knee. But Trey Nixon is still out there, and don't
Mhm.
forget the kids, Keyshawn Butte and why am I at a complete loss? Demario Douglas, and it's going to be a nice mix this year, folks. It's going to be unpredictable. These receivers that the Patriots have under contract can play multiple positions at the receiver spot, and I expect to see a lot of switching in and out, different packages coming in, and don't forget, we've got a couple of tight ends here that can also kick
Mm.
outside whenever it happens to tickle Bill O'Brien's fancy.
Yeah, without question. I'm glad that you mentioned the tight ends because Mike Gesicki, I think, is as important of a cog in this
Hmm.
offense this year as anyone, being able to not only be spread out wide, mostly I think he'll see time in the slot, but
Right.
this is also a guy that's a red zone machine and he can get contested catches. He'll be a threat in that area. I think that's going to bring out the best in Hunter Henry this year. We've
Yep.
seen already on the field in the limited sample size we've had in observing practices that those two seem to be working very well together. And let's not forget the running backs either. You've got
No.
Ramondre Stevenson, Ty Montgomery, Pierre
Ramondre.
Strong. These guys can all catch out of the
All
backfield.
catch
So,
out of the backfield, and
yeah,
they can all slip into the slot too.
absolutely, they can. So the Patriots have a diverse group at wide receiver this year. Before we get to an interesting tidbit from Bill Belichick's comments this morning that I just want to pick your brain on, you mentioned the Slim Reaper. You mentioned Tyquan Thornton. Mike Reese over the weekend reporting that he is dealing with a soft tissue related injury. Patriots have been a little bit careful on him. This one to me is much more understandable considering his build, considering the time he missed last year on the field, and also considering that he's been very impressive during the start of organized team activities. No reason to keep him out there or possibly worsen an injury. At this point, I think this is more preventive than anything else. Are you concerned about the news you hear regarding Tyquan Thornton?
No, I'm really not. This isn't what he was dealing with last year during training camp. This is a soft tissue injury. Go over, sit there, and run the bike. This man knows the playbook. There's plenty of time for him to get back on page with the coaching staff and of course with the quarterbacks. This doesn't bother me quite as much, not even close as much.
And soft tissue injuries are always an eye opener because you can never be 100% sure what the healing process is going to be, how the body is going to react to those. I think the Patriots are taking a very cautious approach. I'd be very surprised to see him out there for extended periods this coming week in mandatory minicamp. Maybe you'll see him out there a little bit sporadically, but I think this is smart to keep his workload very well managed. And I think the Patriots are doing the smart thing here. Get him ready for training camp. Even if you ease him back into training camp, you need him ready for preseason action. Get him ready for game action as well. And I agree with you. And I agree with Manolo here. I think he will be the other guy on the opposite side of the perimeter. That leads me quite nicely into my final question for you, Murph. And I think the final part of what Manolo was getting at here, and that is the New England Patriots' pursuit of DeAndre Hopkins. Bill Belichick took to the podium before the team took the field at Foxborough on Monday. And he said, well, logistics are right now the concern. We're not sure when he's going to make his visit, if he's going to make his visit, but we are talking to him. He did acknowledge that. So there is dialogue there. But all of a sudden, the reports that he's definitely coming in, visiting Foxborough. When you look at these reports now and then you take a look at what the Patriots have in Devontae Parker, back to the wall, opening day on the perimeter. You've got JuJu Smith-Schuster in the slot. You've got Tyquan Thornton at the one side on the perimeter. Is it Devontae Parker or DeAndre Hopkins manning the other side?
It's Devontae Parker. Somebody's going to pay Junior more money than the Patriots are willing to pay him. So he's going to go somewhere that has a better on paper chance of getting to the Super Bowl, because nobody is thinking of the Patriots for whatever reason as a Super Bowl contender, even though, they have one of the most vaunted defenses in the NFL. We'll get to that in a second. And no, I don't. I've said this from the beginning. He is not coming here. This is not happening. I've gone on record before that this is not the man that was still playing ball in Houston a few years ago. There have been others out there that have tweeted that he's a step and a half, maybe even 2 steps slower than he was before. Yes, Devontae Parker has injury history, but I don't think that they're going to add this man and subtract somebody else from this equation right now to make a splash in the papers.
I think there is interest, but only on the Patriots' terms. And I think the Patriots' terms are going to be different than what DeAndre is looking for, and probably rightfully so. I mean, this is a 5-time All-Pro. This is a 5-time Pro Bowler. This is a guy that's pretty much done everything on the field that you can possibly do except for win a Super Bowl. And when you look at what he's trying to do now, I think he's trying to chase a ring. I think the Patriots are more than one player away from that goal this year. So in that regard, I have difficulty reconciling that he's going to be here next year based on that alone.
I still think Devontae Parker. I still think he's going to go where the most money is. I'm sorry. He's getting up there. All right. This is probably the last deal that he is going to sign in the NFL. And I really do think that he's going to go where the most money is. And the most money is not here, people.
Yeah, I think that
don't get me wrong. I agree with Mike. He wants a ring. He'd like to get a ring. And if we're talking a couple $100,000 between going to Kansas City or going to Seattle or the Jets or Buffalo, then that's one thing. But he's a bottom line kind of guy, and I
Mhm.
think he's going to take the most money that is out there, and then
Mhm.
see what happens.
Manolo, thank you so much for the great
Yeah,
question, a very timely question, and a very poignant question for the news of the day for the New England Patriots heading into minicamp. A lot of eyes on the wide receivers. We hope we're able to at least provide a little bit of headway on your question, and the question that I know is on a lot of Patriots fans' minds when it comes to the wideouts and the wide receivers. So thank you very much, and a tip of the cap to you. But folks, we are not done yet. Murph and I are just getting started here on the mailbag. And our next question comes from a good old friend. You can probably deduce who we're going to take the question from today. But believe it or not, folks, he didn't ask a question about wide receivers, asked a great question about the Patriots defense. Murph and I are going to talk about who's going to step it up when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. Pats fans, thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage, your first listen every day, especially all of you everydayers out there. Cannot tell you how touched I am by your support. So thank you very much for continuing to make us a part of your day. And don't forget, tomorrow it's all about minicamp right now, and we are going to continue to bring you all of the very latest from mandatory minicamp in Foxborough as day 2 kicks off on Tuesday. But today is Monday. The Patriots are on the practice fields, and Murph and I are delving into the mailbag. And a lot of you out there are going to keep tabs on the defense as well. Christian Gonzalez, one of the more exciting players out there for the Pats and the defensive secondary. But our good friend LJ sent us in a great question when it came to the Patriots defense and said, well, let's take a look at what he said, folks. He says, while the Patriots defense feasted on lesser competition last season, they struggled to contain the top offenses in
right.
2022. What improvements can we expect for 2023? And of course, if you want to reach out to LJ, he is game to debate you any single time
Any
at
day,
Show1 on Twitter. One of the true very
anytime.
best. Yeah, and he is
He
phenomenal.
tries
We love.
dragging me in at 3 o'clock in the morning. Go to bed, LJ. Bed.
Nah, doing your job. That's it. You
Mm-hmm.
sleep when the season's over, right, Murph?
That's it. That's it.
Absolutely. And there is no off season, so it's a double entendre.
Right.
Bottom line, folks, this is a great question that LJ
It
had.
is.
And Murph, I'll put this to you first. Obviously, the defense highlighted by Christian Gonzalez on the secondary. Matthew Judon is obviously the alpha in the front seven, but there are players along this defense that we expect to see either step up or elevate their game to another level in 2023 to make sure this defense is still an elite one heading into the season. Who steps up and why?
All you have to do is go back and look at this draft. All
Mm,
right, Christian Gonzalez is the shutdown corner that this team needs. I've said before that give him time and watch him shut down number twos while we bracket number ones and yada yada. The more I see this kid, the more I fall in love with him. He had a fantastic little mini camp the other day. That is going to help this scenario immensely, especially as LJ was saying, in shutting down the better quarterback wide receiver tandems. Yes, they did feast on the lesser guys, but that's what you're supposed to do. Keon White is going to have a huge impact. If you have never
mm.
seen him getting off the line, you're in for a treat. And Marty Mapo is just another guy that is going to come in here and have an impact right away, especially in forcing guys to get that ball out just a little bit quicker.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you mentioned Keon White and the versatility that he brings to the table and what he's
Yep.
able to do in that front seven. Obviously, he's a pass rusher. This is what the Patriots brought him in for, but this is a guy that can play a number of different positions. I even said shortly after he was drafted, and a few of my colleagues out there in the media, Phil Perry, one, Evan Lazar for another, said that they wouldn't be surprised to see Keon White drop back into coverage at
Yep.
times. Comments throughout the YouTube verse seemed to think that we were completely out of our element
No,
and completely
no.
gone when it came to that. Folks, take a look at what they've done in OTAs. He's dropped
Right.
back into
He's
coverage more than a
dropping
few
back.
times. We've seen him in a 3-point stance. So Keon White, I think, is someone that can really elevate this defense, and I think he can
Right.
do it in shorter order than a lot of people gave him credit for. But you're right on Christian Gonzalez. It changes the complexity of that secondary. Now, all of a sudden, Bill Belichick has his shutdown corner again, his lockdown corner, I should say. And his game of being able to take over the perimeter and be that presence is going to mean so much for teams that want to test the
Huge.
Patriots deep. It really, really is huge. And I think that's going to lead into the guy that I believe is going to take the biggest step this year. And this is a guy that already took a big step last year, and that's Josh Uche. I
Yeah,
really love
there
what
you
I've
go.
heard from him
Buche.
all season long, all off season. All of you heard is that Uche has been putting in the time. He's been putting
Yep.
in the effort. Some of the cynics will say that it's for a contract year, but bottom
So
line, folks,
that's
whatever
why they
it
let him
takes
get
to
here.
motivate, exactly, I think is a good thing. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
We're
if the
not talking
contract
about
is
Isaiah Wynn
motivating him.
here, people.
Yeah.
This is somebody that knows that there's cash on the line,
Yep.
and he's going to have to go and ball out.
Yeah. And don't forget, this is a team last year that was third in the NFL in sacks with 54. Josh had 11 and a half of them, 27 total tackles, hit the quarterback 14 times, two
Right.
forced fumbles, and his 3-sack performance that he had in Week 14 earned him AFC Defensive Player of the Week. You can expect to see more than that, but what I love about Josh, and I think I've said this before here on Locked On Patriots, is the speed, the athleticism, and the system savvy that he's developed since he's walked through the door. He had all three of those traits kind of lurking below the surface when he came in as a member of the Michigan Wolverines and now coming into the pros with the Patriots. He's not only worked to cultivate those, but he's made those assets at the pro level, and that is not easy to do. He can be a significant factor here, either as an edge rusher. He can play off the ball as well. I think he'll be more of an edge rusher. I think he'll be more of a pass rush threat, as we saw last year. But his skill set can allow him to play on the line when the Patriots play 5-1. I've seen him do the 4-2, the 4-3 alignments, and he can even move back if they run a more traditional 3-4 look. So this is a guy with versatility and ability. And now I guess he's, taking seminars from Von Miller in the pass rush position. Say what you will. I mean, we have a lot of fun at the expense of Von here because he's played for some of our biggest rivals, but one of the most fearsome defenders in the NFL.
Long as,
if
he's taking notes on how to get off the line and beat that snap just by a millisecond, just by a little millisecond, and still not get a flag call, I'm all for it. But I've got one more name I want to throw out, Michael, if you don't mind. I'm expecting big things from Christian Barmore this year.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a lot of health. I'm expecting a lot of growth in what is his junior season here in New England before, we break out. We have to decide about contract extensions or picking up options or anything of that matter. He's going to have a great year, and I'm predicting that he plays all 16 games.
That's a great prediction.
17.
And that's one.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's a common slip that us older football fans make all the time. But bottom line, I think you're right on the money.
Lucky I didn't say 14.
Well, that's leaving a little before my time. No, I'm kidding. I'm only joking. But no, all kidding aside, I think that that's something that Patriots fans definitely hope for. They want. Barmore, when he's on, has been tremendous. When he's been injured, he hasn't been. 2022 was a tough season for him last year, but I think a lot of people have to remember that was due to injury. I see Barmore's name being dragged through the mud a lot more than it should, and that to me is a disservice.
This is a man that got on the field when he really, should have been on the sidelines or not in the lineup at all. He went out there, he gutted it out, he warriored it out, and I think he's gonna this year is gonna have a much better time and go into it with a purpose.
Absolutely, with a purpose. And don't forget, the more he's on the field, Murph, the better the New England Patriots are able to operate. We saw in 2021 in his rookie season, when he's taking on 2 offensive linemen, how much that freed up Matthew Judon to get after the quarterback, pin his ears back, and be able to rush that. If you're looking at guys like Judon and even Uche taking a step up this year and really getting after, even someone like Dietrich Wise when he's out there, if Barmore is clogging 2 offensive linemen and taking on a double team, that's huge for the New England Patriots. So just his presence out there and doing what he does is going to help this team. Excellent drop in, excellent selection. So Yeah, to answer your question, LJ, we do believe that the Patriots will continue to be a top flight defense, and we do believe
Be
that
a
it's going
top
to come
5 D
from,
this year.
yeah,
Top 5.
and we do believe that it's going to come from guys on the inside that are going to step up. Few rookies, few veterans, but that's the Bill Belichick way.
And
Everybody
don't
steps up and
forget the
does his job.
Joneses. The Joneses are
Absolutely,
all going to
definitely
make a
not.
leap this year.
Hmm.
They'll be back playing in positions that are a little bit better for them, a little more familiar for
Hmm.
them, and that sophomore season out of Jack and why am I at a complete loss? Jonathan
Hmm.
and Marcus, is just it's going to be brilliant. It is.
Yeah.
You guys are really going to if you eat up defensive football, you're really going to enjoy this 2023 incarnation of the New England Patriots.
They will be on the field Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. At least that's the schedule right now, folks. Always keep a sharp eye
Right.
out for changes because the Patriots are noted to do that at times,
Hmm.
as all NFL teams are. But mandatory minicamp is always fun. You get your first glimpse at what these guys may look like in training camp. The perfect appetizer to an entree coming in late July, and that is going to be a lot of fun. But I will say, LJ, another great question. Thank you so much for asking a question about the defense this time. I kid, my friend. No, great question, and we do appreciate all of your support. And so, for everyone that took time out of your busy schedule this week, Murph thanks you. I thank you. And I thank you, my friend, for taking time out of your
Oh,
busy schedule to spend here on Locked On Patriots. Before I let you go, please let everyone know where they can reach you, where they can absorb your great wisdom and counsel all week long. The great pen, the great voice of Thomas Murphy.
well, of course, you can catch me over there at e2gsports.com. I got a nice little Red Sox piece up about the young pitching staff and how they're coming into form right now. Yeah, and that even includes Whitlock. He's only 27. I got T-shirts older than Whitlock. Um, and of course, on Wednesday, One Patriots Place returns with the original cast of characters. Steve Balistreri is going to be stopping in this week. He had some time and he wanted to share a few opinions, and I know you folks aren't going to want to miss that.
Absolutely. You're not going to want to miss that. And keep an ear out for that name. You might just be hearing that name as well on Locked On Patriots this week. And I, for one, cannot wait for it. But definitely check out One Patriots Place with Murph, Claire, and Steve. It's going to be
Right.
great having the crew back together again. And of course, keep it right here on Locked On Patriots, folks, all week long. A full week of minicamp coverage here for the Patriots. And we will continue to bring you the very latest coming from the practice fields from Foxborough. But in the meantime, please continue to stay safe and stay well and be the change that you wish to see in the world. On behalf of the great Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports, my name is Mike Debate. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Patriots.
Bar more, not bar less. Bar more.